Hello everyone. This is the first chapter for our UPPCS and UPSC preparation of textbooks. Textbooks is a very vital thing whenever you're preparing for any kind of examination, whether it is SSC, any other examination, any grade D, grade C, any kind of examination, because this is the basic thing a government or an examiner is looking for. So let's start with the first chapter, and I'm not taking anything up to 6th standard. So the first book I have taken is Geography 7th standard. So this Geography 7th standard is the actual book, because prior to this everyone knows everything, so there is no point revising the things which are never been asked in an examination. So let's start with this. The first chapter is environment. So I'm going word by word because this is better to understand the things word by word, not to just going with the summary, because at least one time reading is required. So let's start. Environment. After the long vacation, so this first page of every geography book has nothing to do with your studies. I'm just going to the fact which is telling us about the environment. Environment is it provides air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat, and the land where we live. How do human beings modify this natural environment? The car fumes pollute the air, water is collected in a pot, food is served in vessels, and land is used to build factories. Human beings make cars, mills, factories, and manufacture containers. This is how human being modify natural environment. So this is the particular graph, not graph, is this a particular design which actually tells us that how we are modifying the environment and the concept of basic environment. Now this is human, this is compound of environment. So there are two compounds of environment. One is natural compound, another one is human made environmental factors or changes. So the natural thing is land, and then it comes water, air, where all these things are coming in touch with the human being or any live thing, like any animal or any bird, any kind of life. So this is called as living thing biosphere or simply biosphere. So environment, where environment is getting in touch with any kind of life, it can be a fish in the pond. So this is called biosphere. And now there are some modifications what human has made to the environment. This is building, park, bridges, roads, industries, monuments. Everything is human made. Obviously there is no industry going to be set up by nature, so obviously this is human made things which are modifying our environment, not necessarily in positive aspect, but yes, this is causing change to the existing environment which is in existence n- in our world naturally. Now human, we mean here by human, it can be an individual human which is making change, a family which is making change, a community, any kind of religious things, like we are polluting Yamuna just because of religious activities, or Ganga ji just because of religious activities. So these all things can also cause change. Educational changes, like the way education is being popularized now, and this is a necessity for everyone. So we are using paper in a lot, like every day we are manufacturing lots and lots of paper. This is also causing damage to the environment. Economy is also a question, because when British were making railways, so they were using logs of trees. So forests were cutting down. They were cutting down the entire forest on a huge rate, and most of the forests were not at all safe. So we lost like huge part of forest in the British rule. And political situations. Political situations means, uh suppose there is some kind of check post is being established anywhere. So obviously the check post person would like to see most of the area. Or suppose, when the kings used to fortify the entire castle, they used to clear the area just because the fortification needed a huge construction. Additionally, whenever you are making any kind of fortification, you want to see the uh, any kind of person who is coming to your area from a far side. So obviously the walls are quite high, and the entire forests are being cleaned just to see, just to have a clear view of at least next 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers. And whenever someone is entering your area, you just directly shot that person. So political situations also matters. This is a kind of security threat to anyone. Now, going further, biotic and abiotic. Biotic is something like, any living thing, any living organism is biotic. It can be any animal, any kind of fish, any kind of insect, anything which is biotic. Anything which is live, that is biotic. Abiotic is a non-living thing. Like, non-living thing is not always something which is actually non-living. Like land, for us, we can consider it as non-living, but it is giving birth to living things, so it can also be considered as living. But land, any materialistic thing which is not breathing, which is not giving birth or reproduction to the next thing, so that is abiotic. Plastic is abiotic. So here's a good definition. It can be from the above conversation, you understand that the place, people, thing, and nature that surround any living organism is called environment. And now, biotic and abiotic, it is a combination of natural and human made phenomena, while the natural environment refers to both biotic and abiotic conditions existing on the earth. Now, the environment is a word taken out from a French word that is environ, no? Environneur. And environneur means neighborhood. So, natural environment. So, natural environment contains of mountains, basically in the part of lithosphere. So, lithosphere is the solid crust of the hard top layer of the earth. It is made up of the rocks and minerals and covered by the thin layer of the soil. It is a irregular it is an irregular surface with the various landforms such as mountains, plateau, plains, valleys, etc. Landforms are found over the continents and also on the ocean floors. Now, lithosphere is a domain that provides us forest, grassland for grazing. So the main grazing work takes place here, agriculture takes place here, and any kind of human settlement that can be on lithosphere very easily. It is also a good source of mineral, and water is the another part which is categorized as hydrosphere. It comprises various sources of water and different types of water bodies like rivers, lakes, seas, oceans, etc. It is an essential and very important part of for living organisms. The atmosphere is the thin layer of the air that surrounds the earth. The gravitational force of the earth holds the atmosphere around it. It protects us from any kind of outer bodies which can touch the earth and can harm us, like any kind of have you heard about heli? So these kind of harmful pieces of spaces can enter our environment, and then that can cause harmful uh, damage. This atmosphere also helps us to protect us from harmful rays and heat which is not required. So if we are getting the sufficient amount of heat, that is because of the atmosphere. Have you read about Ladakh? So Ladakh's atmosphere is quite thin, the air is quite thin there. So whenever you go out in daytime, it the sunlight is so direct that it can harm you. So people in Ladakh do not go directly to sunlight, and obviously cannot come back immediately to the roofed area, because the sudden change in the environment, like once you're under a roofed area and then you're going outside in direct sunlight and then you're coming back to the roofed area, so this is causing the temperature change which can lead to cold or any other kind of uh, body changes. So ecosystem is something which is happening due to the interaction of living organism with the each other of the other organisms. Like if we are getting in touch with cow, and cow is getting in touch with grass is getting in touch with earth, now this chain is happening. So this kind of things create an ecosystem. And there are, like, people have been telling us that ecosystem is very much required, ecosystem is required, and that's why they are eating flesh and they are eating meat just to support the ecosystem. So the cycle of ecosystem is very much important. Now if we go in deep about the ecosystem, so ecosystem is the basic system created by nature to balance everything. Human is being interacted with environment and modify the environment according to their need, and early human adapt themselves according to the nature. Now what is happening, the nature is trying to adapt, or we are causing a change to the nature which is growing questions. So this ecosystem is getting changed, and this imbalancement for this ecosystem is questionable. So just to protect the ecosystem and just to protect the environment, just to make sure that we are actually doing something, just to remind you, there is an environment day for entire world is being celebrated on 5th of June. Now there have been a long theory of revolution, like we started eating flesh, then we started eating fruits, then we started eating something else, and started agriculturing and other things. Then transportation took place, and there was a long story. Barter system started. So this is about the barter system started where people used to exchange goods at the place of exchanging money, or paying something with hard cash. So the goods used to be exchanged. That was barter system that exists till now in some of the areas. So these kind of things are now getting changed. So entire RBI is working just to publish notes so that you can buy things. But the way the paper is being used, that is a quite good threat to our trees, our forests. So these all things actually are not required. Till the time we are valuing the barter system, till the time we are able to value or to quote a value against everything, like a goal, it can be converted into any other thing if we are fixing an amount against it. But that becomes a quite harder because everyone is not exchanging gold for food only. There can be many other requirements. If you want to buy a mobile, obviously you need to get it valued according to the mobile specification and all that, and that would not be easy for valuing things as per each unique products. So if we evaluate, like if we are evaluating this particular book, so paying 1 gram of gold for this particular book would not be sufficient, or would not be the right value for this book, because this book is like valuable for me because I need to read it. This book would not be that valuable to any other person, like someone who is just uh, collecting scrap. So have you ever seen this dabba wala and kabari wala? So obviously, if a person is just need to tear it off and want to use it to spread, like want to use it to uh, as a carrier for their goods, like as a carrier for bhelpuri, obviously this book means nothing to them, but this book means something to me. So I would be paying 1 gram of gold for it, but obviously the other person would not like to pay 1 gram of gold. He would directly go and buy some packets, and he will put the things in packets and sell it off. So these things was not possible under barter system. That's why money took place. So this is it about our first chapter, and in case you want to go through the exercise, so let's go to the optional one, which is not a natural ecosystem. So aquarium is not an any natural ecosystem, because aquarium is made by humans, so this is not naturally made. Forest is naturally made, desert is naturally made, which is not component of human environment. So land is a part of human environment, community is a part of human environment, but religion, you can live without religion but I feel so it is not a part of human environment. This can be a human made ethics guidelines or something which helps to control the entire life. But what I have seen, or what everyone has seen, for living, religion is not that required, because if we consider any other animal, not human, so they are living without religions, which is a human made environment. So mountain is self made, naturally made, sea is naturally made, and road is human made, which is a threat to environment. So which is the threat to environment? We can evaluate the answers. Growing plant, this cannot be a threat, this is a blessing. So another one is growing population. Obviously growing population means growing needs and lesser natural resources, so this can be a threat to environment. Then growing crops is a blessing, because if the crops are growing, obviously people would have more food. So this is not a threat to environment, so the answer is B, growing population. This is it for today. Let's go to the other chapter. See ya.